So today we're going to be talking a little bit about this article that I saw. And look, I'm going to be completely real. Like, I'm not going to say that this is from Essentially Sports. It's not like this is from ESPN or anything. But was shared on Yahoo Sports, so, something slightly more credible. To be fair, Yahoo just share anything at this stage. But we are going to just talk about the topic that it's talking about. It says here, Unrivaled runs into uncomfortable Caitlyn Clark truth amid viewership decline per analyst. That analyst is Rachel Demina. That being said, that analyst is Rachel Demina. But I have to say, again, she's with congratulations for the new partnership with Sirius XFM or whatever it's called. Congratulations with the partnership. Definitely in terms of actual, shows, it's her and Rosalina that do put out the best products. Like the likes of myself, Robin, and guys, we just ramble into a microphone, which is what I do well, which is I've so much respect for people that actually, put the time in to make good shows, because I'm not very good at that. If you guys have known my whole thing on social media since I've started, I've gained hundreds of millions of long form views by rambling into microphones. That's kind of been what I've excelled at for my entire adult life. That being said, we're being real here. It says here, where analyst Rachel Demina puts uncomfortable Caitlyn Clark truth. In her latest YouTube breakdown, she called Unrivaled's 2025 November marketing tease that hinted at Clark's involvement with Cryptic 22 references. That was 2024. It says here, only for her to pass, leaving the least credibility and tatters just season 2 tipped off. This bait and switch didn't disappoint fans. It amplified Unrivaled's vulnerability. Unrivaled founders, it says here, the growth hinged on buzz, highlighted how preseason campaign was built on false hope of Clark. I do think that was more last year. And I think Unrivaled benefited from as soon as Caitlyn Clark announced she wasn't doing it, they announced Breanna Ionescu, which is not Caitlyn Clark. It's clearly not Caitlyn Clark. If you look at the views, people aren't watching for Breanna Ionescu, but there's more hype. There's more buzz around it when you have a name like Breanna Ionescu. And you have a well-known name that is known to everybody in basketball circles because she's the best shoe. It becomes a big thing. And let's be completely real. It says here, the misfire matters now because it eroded right before tip-off. Last season, novelty, high-stakes 3x3. With off-season targets of sellouts and solid ratings. Look, is 800 really a sellout? Without Clark, the league faces immediate pressure to prove its model amid no-shows and resale dumps. Left the expanded area looking half empty on open weekend. Compared this to your Big Three's trajectory, the X3 men's league exploded in year 1 with ex-NBA talent, saw viewership half by season 3, as stars aged out and hype faded, mirroring Unrivaled current fall. I mean this when I say this. I watched, was it 2017, the first year of the Big Three? I watched bits of it, and I was like, this isn't for me. And I think for most people, we're in agreement, Big Three is not for them. And in terms of 3x3 basketball, I've played. It's a sport that I've played a lot. It's ironically a form of basketball that growing up I was really good at. By the time I hit 18, I was not an international level player at my age group by any means. But in our national under 18s championships, my team of me and 2 friends beat multiple teams made up of 3 guys on the national team. We were I was damn good at it. I can't watch 3-on-3. This is a game that everything I did in the sport suited perfectly. I can't watch it. I can't even watch it. It's not a spectator sport. 3v3 is an outdoor game where people are blaring music and there's a bunch of outdoor courts and you can make a 3v3 event like the Ball Out UK, and there's even the women's basketball, the Spokane 3-on-3, what they were running over the summer. You can have if you have 3 or 4 half courts, you can make a day-long event where there's a bunch of 3v3 games, and it's a cool event to be a part of because you're you're going to game by game by game. The players are hanging out on the courts. It can be a cool event. 3-on-3 basketball can be a cool event. They made it an Olympic sport for some reason. 3-on-3 full court is worse than 3-on-3 half court. I don't know how. It's actually a worse watch. But it says here, last season, They average 210k. They're not even close to that. It says here, WNBA's 2024 surge when Clark's rookie year spiked over 2 million viewers, only for 2025, obviously the draft. Only for dip to 900k amid her injury limited play. Is that the draft or what is it? I don't know. Because the WNBA did not average over 2 million viewers when Caitlyn Clark played in 2024, nor did it average 900 without without Caitlyn Clark. Is that specifically Fever games? I don't actually know. I really don't know. But at the end of the day, this is the key thing. Unrivaled 6-year TNT deal includes a 3-year opt-out clause, putting broadcast revenue at risk. The opt-out is happening. And look, I mean this when I say this. Like, I actually agree with most of the points. I agree with almost all the points that Rachel Demita makes. I think this is a really weirdly worded article. This seems like it's written by somebody who has no idea, who watched a Rachel Demita video and has no idea. They said Unrivaled, like, pretended Caitlyn Clark was going to join in 2025. That didn't happen. It was 2024, and season 1 still did okay. But the problem was, when it came to season 1, was that this is what the biggest problem was, outside of the novelty of day 1 and the 1v1 competition. And so basically, the novelty and the novelty. Outside of novelty, you have got a situation where it is like, it was going down every week. Like, the playoffs got less views than week 2. It dropped week by week by week by week by week, the viewership, other than the 1v1. And the 1v1 was novelty. Like, I don't know how popular the 1v1 is going to be, because we didn't see, Breanna didn't play 1v1, Angel didn't play 1v1 last year. There's a world where Paige doesn't play 1v1. I don't think she does. I think Paige is a hooper. I think she does play it. But there's a world that Paige doesn't play. And if Paige doesn't play 1v1, who gives a fuck? I mean, it's like this. When Paige doesn't play, no one gives a fuck about this league. Like, you got to give credit where credit's due to Angel Reese. Like, Angel Reese put this league on her damn back last year. She put this league on her damn back. And the reality is that if you're not going to have Caitlyn Clark play, now, I don't think Angel Wilson's that big a draw, but what I do think is that having Angel Wilson in the league adds to the legitimacy of the league, because she is arguably the best player in the world, probably the best. Her and Fee, if you want to argue, like, I think they're 1A, 1B. But at the end of the day, Angel Wilson is in that 1A, 1B conversation. And not even 1A, 1B conversation. Yeah, which is 1A and who is 1B. But at the end of the day, that will bring legitimacy to the league. There are players that people give a flying fuck about when it comes to women's basketball. And this isn't a knock on women's basketball. Like, that's the case in all basketball. Like, there are players in the NBA that are really good that nobody cares about. And that's always been the case. Like, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head, a really good player. Heck, fuck it, Jokic. Jokic is one of the greatest players. If I mean this when I say this, Jokic is probably the worst player that you can realistically argue is in the GOAT conversation without, like, being seen as a crazy person or trolling. Maybe you can be seen as a crazy person without being seen as trolling if you think he's the GOAT. That he's that level player. If Nikola Jokic leaves the NBA, ratings are not going to be hit at all. But if Wemby leaves, yeah. If Luka leaves, even to an extent, because he was the Lakers, when LeBron leaves, ratings will take a slight hit. When Steph fucking Curry leaves, ratings will take a massive hit. The reality is that, like, it's not a knock on these players saying that if nobody gives a flying fuck watching them as individuals. And the problem is that Unrivaled is a league, because there's less players on the floor, that nobody cares about these teams. There's no geographical link to these teams. This is a bunch of random players that have been put on random teams every year. And unless people care about the individuals, and Unrivaled lost a lot. Like, if you're not going to have Caitlyn Clark, you need Sabrina, you need Angel, you need Paige. And when you have one of them, and when you have Fee who's injured. So when you have all of these players that are now coming out, and they're playing in Unrivaled, and nobody cares really about any of them. Like, I mean this, one of the five players people care most about is fucking Breanna Mabry in Unrivaled. Like, it is what it is. And that's the problem, is that this is a league that needs to be about star power. And it's all about all this, all positivity, all this shit. If they really cared, and I mean this, what I would have with Unrivaled is I would have 10 people hired. I'm not joking. You know the way like Andrew Tate had the thing where he'd like pay people based on how many TikTok clips. I'd run a damn Discord. I'd do the Tate method. Hire a load of kids and be like, you, depending on how many views you get on Unrivaled, we will pay you this amount. You will be seeing edits of the Marina Mabry brawls. You'll be seeing these 1v1 edits. You'll be seeing all these things and you're trying to boom it on TikTok, because at least if you're not doing well in the TV, you can always go to your investors, look, we're killing it on social media, this is what we're doing. But they're not doing any of that. They're not doing any of that, and people don't really care. So they're not even, the one way Unrivaled can succeed in this 3-on-3 format, I think by going 5v5, it can definitely succeed. But like, the one way they can do it in this small team format is by pushing the individual, and they're not even doing it. They're not even doing it. So yeah, here's a pity. I'll see you guys.